As every good podcast does, we want to start off with a shout out to one of our sponsors, actually a media partner. We are proud and delighted, honored to be in our fourth, almost fifth year of media partnership with the International Coach Federation. As you know, if you're a coach or interested in coaching or looking to hire a coach, the International Coach Federation is the world's largest global organization dedicated to advancing the coaching profession. They do that by setting high standards, by providing independent certification, accreditation, and credentialing, and by building a worldwide network of trained coaching professionals. As the world's largest organization of professionally trained coaches, it's an opportunity for us to not only network, but us to find out what some of the trends, what some of the hot topics are in our industry, as well as to really become the profession that's possible. You know, professions. When you think about professions, you think about whatever it is, accounting, dentistry. These things have barriers to entry, required education, required ongoing education, and consumer protection. The ICF is working on all of those and more. Of course, if you're a member, as we are, of the ICF, it elicits instant credibility for you as a coach. And, of course, the all-important ICF credential can get you in when the doors seem closed. The ICF is committed to connecting coaching professionals with the tools and resources they need to succeed in their careers, which is where we partner. And if you want to learn more, stay up to date, or just find out about the International Coach Federation, go to coachfederation.org. You can also follow them on Twitter at that's right, that's what I said, at ICFHQ. We're also delighted to have a representative of the International Coach Federation on our show, this year program, each and every quarter. Man, as you know, there is nothing that I like better than meeting people once you've been exposed to their work and then finding out that they're great people. We have such humans in the studio with us today. I'm delighted to welcome Michelle Saul. She's the founder and president of Possibilities Consulting, LLC, where she's built an excellent reputation, and I'm not making that up, as a consultant, trainer, executive coach, and keynote speaker. She guides leaders through change initiatives by facilitating vision, transition management, and leadership development, as well as developing the team. Clients range from large to small organizations, and we're delighted to welcome Michelle here in person. Thank you for being with us.
It's my pleasure. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
And just to your right, I don't know if you've seen, there's a handsome fellow there.
Yes, I might recognize this gentleman over here.
Ari is a passionate entrepreneur. He started his first business at the age of 22 in the aviation industry and then kept going from there. He spent the last 5 years working in the Israeli tech industry. We talked a little bit about that just before the show, as a team leader of business services and a director of customer service, while completing his master's degree in organizational behavior and development from the prestigious Interdisciplinary Center in, go ahead and say that word.
Herzliya, Israel.
I was about to say that. Is a proud husband and father. Give us a little when you can pull it up. Give us a little picture of your beautiful angel there.
My beautiful little girl who's always upset if I get on my iPad. So it's a constant reminder to stay present and focused on the people around me.
And her first name is, or
Daphne.
Is there a pseudonym you want to use?
No, my beautiful girl Daphne.
Ari, what's your role over there in the family business now that you've come and joined your mom and dad?
Well, I do a lot of things right now. I'm running the office. I do all of the sort of managerial partner work to keep everything smooth and running. I manage our websites, and I also do a lot of client work on my own. I do coaching and team building and training and small team facilitation.
He kind of does everything. You guys,
He sounds
brought him
wonderful.
He really does.
You're hired. I like it.
All right, as you can tell, my dear listener,
Jumping across the table to shake the hand.
Shake my hand. You're in. I love it.
this is not, you know, that this, because of the work that you do in businesses and organizations, that this is not the typical dynamic of family business, right?
Having coached, counseled, and consulted with many family businesses.
You forgot consoled.
Consoled, nice. It's hard to make money as a consoling business, isn't it?
You know what? But we do a lot of consoling, actually, especially when it comes to families. And I think we were able to avoid some of the pitfalls. So we were able to have some real heart-to-heart conversations about how to make that work and how to how to really make sure that we work together well. And having a sense of humor is very helpful.
Crucial.
You know, Ram Dass used to say, if you don't have a sense of humor, it just isn't funny.
It's deep and light at the same time. I like it. Ari, what about you? You're a guy out there. You slayed some dragons, created some, one-year damsels, started your family. What was it that seemed attractive to you about coming to the family business as opposed to, continuing in the world of Israeli tech and organizational development?
Well, I am truly blessed to have wonderful parents who
You kind of have to say that right now, but
contractually obligated. But after studying organizational development, I really wanted to transition from managerial work to transformational work. It's really an incredible experience to be able to help someone else achieve their dreams and their goals. And working with my parents not only is one of my dreams and goals, which I've now checked the box on.
Yes.
It's given me the opportunity to start making an impact in other people's lives beyond just being their favorite manager, which was always fun, but it's much more rewarding being in the transformational business that we are.
all right. We should mention the company name is Possibilities Consulting LLC. You can find them on the web at possible.co. Little envious of that, possible.co. What sort of engagements do you do? Is this something where people come off the streets and come and learn how to be more possibility-minded? Is it something where you walk into a company that's in dire straits and you straighten them out?
We do a little bit of everything. We have a very, very broad range. We, most of all, have, there's really two tracks. One is where we go in-house to the companies, where through the CEOs, mostly because word of mouth. I mean, we've done very, very little marketing. We work with an organization. We have a philosophy of starting at the top. We'll only go in-house to an organization where we have access to the CEO.
So important, right? That's
the biggest
mistake
key.
that so many people make is they're willing to start on the line staff or the first level managers
Let's
without
just
any
train.
buy-in at the
We'll
top.
do some leadership training.
Right.
And then nothing changes and people get so frustrated and challenged. So we work with organizations where we know we have access to the change agents, where we know we have access to the folks that can make the changes and make the decisions and are the key to the culture. And so when we do that, we start there and then can broaden our base outward. And that sometimes they're in trouble, sometimes they're actually doing quite well and they just want to get better. You don't, the old cliche, you don't have to be sick in order to get better. Oftentimes, that's the best time to do the work. When things are going well, it's like, well, now how do we go to that next level?
Make it better.
Yeah, and Ari said, I think, our key word, which was transformative, transformational, where something intrinsic inside of us finally gets our own personal aha and something clicks. And when we can be a part of that, that's where we get so excited about helping that individual, guiding them to their own natural knowing to shift off of whatever their obstacles have been that have stopped them from, their self-limiting beliefs that they might have a blind spot to. And we just create this space for them to have that aha and start to make real change in their life.
I'm afraid that people are going to hear that and think, oh, another woo-woo approach where it's sort of like,
Right.
that.
Good
So
catch.
Aren't we in California?
well,
Wait,
we are, but
we
we're
raised
not.
him in Oregon too, so we always get a little bit of California and Oregon.
right.
Aha.
Although Voodoo Donuts. Anyway.
Yeah, Voodoo Donuts.
good.
Voodoo
So
Donuts. That's true.
good.
But
Are they sponsoring by
let's
chance?
go back. If only. Get right on that, will you, Corey?
So how do we get off of the woo-woo?
Well, there are a couple
Right?
things. I want to
Questions.
go back a step
Sure.
So I heard you say two things. One is you go in house. I missed the other thing.
The other thing
The other way people
is
work with you.
the other thing is you said off the street. We have open enrollment programs that are based on emotional intelligence, and they're in a very intense 3-day workshops where people can come in. They just hear from a friend or find us online, and everyone is welcome. When you come in, you have a name tag.
Nice.
And it has your name on it.
Aw, that's
Not
awesome.
what you do or how much money you make or anything like that. It's just
I have my own name tag for that.
you have your own name tag. You
It
come-
says what
I love it.
how much money I make. Yeah,
Right.
I'm teasing.
But that's that second place where we want to make sure that people have this opportunity to carve out time for themselves to say, what's my next step? What do I want to do with my life?
Perfect timing at the beginning of the year for something like
Yeah,
that. Where
exactly.
are these all in person? Can you join from anywhere? How's it work?
These are all in person. We have people coming from all over the United States.
In person here in
in
San
person
Diego?
here in San Diego.
And you
We
have
run-
one coming up, right?
We have one coming up in January.
We have one in January here. We also have one coming up in Washington, D.C. this year.
Oh.
Great. When and where and how do we register for that stuff? I'm asking for a friend.
You'll find all the information on our website, including the enrollment information and the ability to join. Again, it's possible.co.
All right, you go ahead because I got to register.
I think
for
it's
this.
under services, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We have a blast in there. We have been doing this work for a long time. It is our passion.
You talk to them. I'm doing this.
And
Go.
I'm so excited. This is a big year. So this is a start of a fresh year, and I'm not a big believer in New Year's resolutions because I find people break them and then feel really badly
Yeah,
about
they have
themselves.
such a negative stigma.
I know.
I don't use the word resolution anymore. It's an
Yeah,
intention.
It's intentions. And so what we do is we help people get clear about what their intentions are. My personal mission that I've translated to the work itself, and that is to help create more joy, clarity, aliveness, and purpose in our lives. We're very purpose-driven.
That's very moving.
It's it's very. It touches us, and at the same time, with respect, I want to go back to the woo-woo piece because I'm
Yeah.
clear that you guys actually have some extraordinary tools. You've got some approach that you bring to an organization or an individual. Let's talk more about the organizational work. I think especially at this time of year, organizations have just done their year-end things. For many of us, we're looking at, okay, what is this year? What are my goals? I have to have it to my boss by, 2 weeks from today. What do you bring into an organization at this time of year especially?
Great. I'm going to hand this one off to Ari.
And see how he does?
Well,
Trial
it's,
by fire.
It's what I was saying about this year that's big
Sink or
for
swim.
me is Michael and I both turned 65 this year.
I suddenly don't like her. Do you see how beautiful and powerful she is? It's
I
not-
turned 65 this year. Like, that is a very big deal. And as passionate as I am about my work, and I don't want to retire, that's not in my vernacular, I'd like to spend more time with my grandkids. And I want to leave a legacy behind where this year is going to be about mentoring, supervising, and training and getting this next generation up and running.
And which is another great thing that all organizations have to deal
Yes,
with, right?
that's
and here you are
exactly
going
right.
through it.
I'm gonna
So
bunny
we're
ear that.
going through that, yeah. So I'm going to hand this one off to Ari to talk about what we do in-house and his particular niche as well.
Okay, if you want to grade him, I've got paper.
Okay.
You ready to take notes?
Oh! Didn't know who we were dealing with there.
I was better get myself on.
So a lot of what we do, again, starting at the top, it's a lot of personal coaching, goal setting, training in the sense that we want to bring a higher awareness of the impact we have on others around us. So when we can start at the top with the CEO and the executive team and get everybody into alignment, do the goal setting for the year. This is also that time of year everyone's looking at, okay, are we growing? Are we stagnant? Where as an organization are we trying to get to? You need to get the entire executive team into alignment on what it is they want to achieve for the year and how they want to get there. Once that section is cemented, then you can start doing some training and coaching and goal setting for the layers underneath within the organization. And so that's how we bring our emotional intelligence woo-woo approach into a very professional organization where words like accountability and ownership may be new concepts.
Or overused concepts.
Or
where-
misunderstood
concepts
concepts.
where they're not actually living them. They're the nice framed values on the wall.
that nobody understands
really gets.
what they mean or how they're applied or how the organization should embody them. And so
Without disrespect, though, we become, those of us that bring this type of thing to an individual or an organization, we can become cliche in our own ways by
course.
bringing, I heard you speak to the T word, right? And 5 years ago, the T word, everybody was like, transformation, we need that. And now everybody's said it so much that it's sort of has lost its flavor, right?
yes.
How do you address that both internally? Because you've got to have, now you walk into an organization, right? These people have been through 3, 7, 8, 27 change initiatives before, right? How do you actually persuade them, convince them, or get their mojo up again to try one more time that it might really work this time?
That's a really good question. And to be honest, the way that I've always approached it is blunt honesty.
There we go.
Is what you're doing today working? If it is, great. Maybe you don't need me. Chances are the only reason I've walked into your office is something isn't working.
Or it isn't where you wanted to your earlier
Not
point,
exactly
right?
where you want it to be. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, and so is there some sort of an assessment at the beginning? Do you do the time-honored consulting thing where you like, let's use the tool or something to sort of take everybody's temperature?
We do. We have a diagnostic tool that we use. It's called the Personal Strengths Profile. And we find it's enormously helpful, especially for high-powered leaders, because it also measures energy reserves and stress, which everyone is very concerned about these days for how we manage our stress.
I heard coffee's good for stress. Don't worry.
You heard that in
Especially
Israel.
cold brewed in the morning, right? And I think one of the things that differentiates us as well is that we, because of the woo-woo factor that you talked about, we actually come at it from this place of emotional intelligence. We deeply, deeply care about people. And I think that comes across very strongly.
It does, but it also makes your business model a challenge because you've got to bring that personal warmth
That's
and
right.
caring
That's
to
right.
everyone, and that's got to be. I mean, how do you train people with that? No disrespect.
You there is some training that you can do, and mostly it's innate.
Wow.
So it's finding the people that are already there naturally and then honing their skills. Ari was kind of born with it, bless his heart.
It was a gift, really.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
the middle child.
Yeah, it was kind of natural to him. And I think that makes a difference. And there's lots of natural coaches out there. I think what our work does is it helps the coaches in the world be better coaches. It helps the coaches for their own personal assessment, and then they become better coaches. Because, don't be a business consultant or a coach if you really don't like people. I don't think that's
You're in
a
the
really good
wrong
Although
idea.
it's worked for me, all right. Generally speaking. Yeah.
And so that makes a difference. And I think how we build and honor relationship matters. So we might not even take on a client if the relationship's not going to be there, if the trust can't be built pretty quickly, then I would find them another coach.
Man, isn't that heartbreaking too? I think we've all had some experience of seeing someone's true potential,
Yeah.
actually having the conversation about working with them and realizing, oh, that person's just not going to take the next step.
They're not interested.
I so appreciate you guys
Yeah.
and not only the work that you do, but also the ability you have to roll with the punches. We're far off script and things, but
Did we have a
delving down to
script?
things.
Yeah.
But
Was there a question?
but I want to acknowledge you for that because you've been present and clear no matter what, direction we've gone or anything and been able to move. Whereas we've talked to people before who, T. Harvecker, we won't mention any names, who can't get off message, like can't be a person because they're so busy being off message. I love you, T. Har.
As a middle child, you get used to being hammered from all directions.
I know. I was just gonna
and
say.
really good at just adapting to whatever's in
Adapt.
front of you.
It's a little bit
Adapt.
sad. I feel.
You live
Are
for
there any
this.
apologies you'd like to? No, I'm kidding.
I think every parent should just put their child in their arms, look them deeply in the eyes, and say, "I'm very sorry."
I will
I
pay
would
for
really,
therapy.
Right from the very
I could have really
beginning.
used that. I could have really
Just,
used that.
it's inevitable. We are going to mess up, and we're going to do the very best we know how.
Speaking of messing up, it occurred
Yes.
to me that you've been gone for a while, and so I've forgotten how to partner, and so I'm mostly just giving you today. I'm sorry about that. You'll have
I'm
to
just
work
here
it
for the
out.
ride. This
Right.
is my favorite part.
No, it takes practice to partner.
We're about to take a break, and we've got a couple of minutes, but I want to make sure that people know. I went to possible.co to register for the I can't even say it.
Seminar.
Emotional
Emotional
intelligence seminars.
intelligence.
And I found that there are 3 levels. There's opening the door, basic
Yes.
level, reclaiming authenticity, second level, and third level, discovering it's all true. I want to go straight there, of course. But
Oh, so you have a secret woo-woo part of
The
yourself,
force is
so-
strong with this one.
But either that or I just read the end of the book first.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I found these, and it takes a little bit. So go there and look, possible.co. And look, in San Diego in 2018, we're talking about January 26th to the 28th, April 13th to the 15th, July 20th, and October 19th. Any of those times are beautiful in San Diego. And in D.C., March 23rd to 25th. Also, if you're in D.C., go ahead and march. And then August 10th to 12th.
Ooh, that's
I
a-
cannot. You had to reach for that one.
A little
But
human.
see, that way in August, you just stay
Humid.
indoors.
I was going to say.
Nobody minds.
There's a
Can't
bunch of
recommend
museums there, I
DC
think,
in
right?
August, but I'm sure that it's a really good time to focus. Okay, so you got those, and you can go to possible.co. Now this says it's all possible.co. Do you have?
Yes, that's the seminar side.
Gotcha.
Then the possible.co is our organizational development, office tune-up, and our organizational side.
Clear. Possible.co or allpossible.co. I sort of wasn't clear before. And man, what a great, how much does this cost? I can't tell.
I think you have to click on it.
I'll click. All right. Meanwhile, go to those places. When we come back, we're going to talk about, delve down a little more into the personal. We'll talk about
Okay.
New Year's resolutions. We'll talk about change initiatives. And for those of us who may not know what it is, talk a little more about emotional intelligence and what they can get from those 3-day seminars. Meanwhile, go immediately to possible.co and check out all of the offerings there. Anything else that we need to remind people?
No.
Well,
That's all I got.
When we come back, we'll talk about our other longtime sponsor of this program, Accomplishment Coaching. If you're looking for the world's finest coach training program, look no further than accomplishmentcoaching.com. You can go and find out not only the work that they do, but you can actually sit in on a coach training program before you register for anything and see what they do. Once again, possible.co. When we come back, more with Michelle Saul and Ari Saul. You're listening to The Coaching Show, the worldwide leader in internet talk right here on WSRadio.com. Anything else? I feel like you're making
I think you've covered all of the bases.
maybe a little less coffee next time.
Yes.
All right. Enjoy the music. We'll be back with more with Michelle Saul and Ari Saul from Possibilities Consulting.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Are you seeking to change your career to something that is both fulfilling and challenging? Do you want to help people reach their full potential and strive to achieve their dreams? Would you like to inspire those around you and help create a better world? If you're serious about a career change or just want to explore the craft of personal coaching, contact Accomplishment Coaching. With locations across the country in Washington, D.C., Seattle, Chicago, New York City, and San Diego, Accomplishment Coaching is the leading institution in personal coaching. Our staff carefully monitors the entire program, live during the training process, and have met the strict standards of ICF International to achieve accreditation. Through a focus on quality instruction rather than endless modules of training, Accomplishment Coaching will guide you from your very first step all the way to becoming one of the finest coaches in the world. Visit AccomplishmentCoaching.com to learn more. Accomplishment Coaching, where coaches lead and leaders coach.
Christopher McAuliffe is your source for the latest in the world of personal coaching. Whether it be speaking with such luminaries as Deepak Chopra or getting the newest techniques and innovation, the coaching show is always on the cutting edge of what's happening now.
Gotham Books presents Marriage Rules by Harriet Lerner. The book Martha Beck calls required reading for anyone hoping to interact successfully with any other human, not just for those in romantic relationships. Get your copy wherever books and ebooks are sold, and visit harrietlerner.com to learn how to change your marriage today.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Accomplishment Coaching is proud to present the following fine programming. Accomplishment Coaching, where coaches lead and leaders coach. AccomplishmentCoaching.com.
Welcome back to the Coaching Show with your host, Master Certified Coach Christopher McAuliffe.
Thank you, Dick Warren. Did I mention I see him? All right, we are here with delightful people in studio. Of course, we want to shout out to our longest-term sponsor of this here program. If you have learned anything today or in life from our program, thank the fine folks at Accomplishment Coaching. You can find them on the web at accomplishmentcoaching.com. If you're like me, well, God help you, but if you are, you're looking for the finest of things. You look for the, Cartier watch and the Tiffany crystal and that sort of Tiffany, do they make crystal? Yeah. Waterford? I don't know. Anyway, if you're looking for the Harvard, the Oxford, the Stanford of coaching, you can find them at accomplishmentcoaching.com. And it's not hype, it's not a slogan. They actually have more hours of coaching, more in-person training, more reading, more actual live human beings that are coached from the outside world, not just coach your neighbor. Check it out. It's an ICF accredited program, of course, and available in a city near you. Clarice, what are the cities that Accomplishment Coaching is in?
There are just a few.
Oh, I thought I caught you.
I got this one, ready?
Yeah.
It's in Chicago, Washington, D.C. We have it in New York City.
The Big Apple.
San Diego. Seattle.
Indeed.
And Victoria, British Columbia, Canada.
Well played. You can find out any more information by going to the web, accomplishmentcoaching.com, and we thank them for their long-term support of our work here at The Coaching Show. All right, we're continuing our conversation. Do you want to introduce Michelle and Ari, or I feel like you're not really working very hard today?
I'm along for the ride. I'm really excited to hear your take on, it's January 3rd, and I know there's a lot of talk about New Year's resolutions. I've converted to intentions. And so I just kind of want to hear.
Because you failed at the.
No, I just like to recreate relationships to new things. So it's kind of fresh and it's setting a different tone. So you're not really. So So how do people, in your mind, like how do people really get held accountable to their New Year intention or resolution?
Well, we spend a lot of time with the concept of intention. It's a powerful concept. I think people tend to bite off too big of what they might call a resolution, and they don't chunk it down into doable parts. And so they end up with this great big giant, what we've, called a BHAG, or a, big, hairy, audacious goal. And then if you don't hit it, you feel,
I like that.
Oh man, I have failed. And we don't want to set ourselves up for failure. We want to set ourselves up for success. And that means chunking down, making sure that things are doable, understanding what our resistance might be, and what self-limiting beliefs might be in our way. That might be a blind spot. And we can't always do that on our own, which is why coaching is so very powerful, because you get another perspective.
Somebody from outside.
That's somebody from the outside that's not emotionally attached to your issue. And that makes a difference. And so when we run the seminar work, so we do a lot of one-on-one, and then when we run the seminars, all of a sudden you have maybe an entire room full of strangers who's never met you before, who are seeing you for your authentic self. Like, we think we've got this image that we've got wired and we've got it down, and all of a sudden those kinds of masks and images start to crumble, and what we find underneath there is actually, we're afraid to look, but it's actually pretty spectacular. And so that supports the group work, accelerates the coaching work, in my experience, tenfold.
It's such important work. And I want to introduce you formally. So that voice is, and beauty, is Michelle Saul. Michelle is the president and co-founder of Possibilities Consulting, LLC. You can find their work on the web by going to possible.co. Michelle has an incredible reputation. I actually know you by reputation before I met you today.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, here in San Diego, I can't, I don't know where else you've been. But delightful, and just a poster child for the work of transformation and coaching and consulting. Just incredibly sparkle, depth, and power, as well as obvious beauty, if you like that sort of thing. She's brought with her a partner in the business, Ari Saul. Ari is just recently he's an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, as most entrepreneurs are, but also most recently from 5 years in the tech world in Israel, of all places. Ari, I wanted to not leave, but sort of enhance our conversation about the new year, because there are things that we do. I've got rituals. I imagine you guys have rituals around completing the year, right? Yeah. We hit some goals, we mastered some things, we lost some stuff, and then really starting anew. Is there some work that you do, or that you do in organizations, to sort of really put the cap on a year and start newly?
One of the things that I've always enjoyed doing at the end of the year, whether it's personally or in an organization, is acknowledging the places where we have achieved what we set out to achieve, and at the exact same time acknowledging the places we fell short. It's very easy sometimes to sweep our mistakes or our failures under the rug and just try to forget about it and move on, but then we end up carrying them with us. And in the act of acknowledging the places where we've missed the mark or failed, we can actually come to some closure and let it go. And then, again, whether it's in the organization or in your home life,
Why you got to bring that up?
Then you really get to feel like you're starting fresh.
Yeah.
And is there something that you can train us on? Is there a tool, or is it just a sort of a reckoning? Do we have to make a list? How does this? What can we all do today?
The first step is being honest with yourself. That is the.
Could we just skip that part? And
nope, we can't.
Can't go straight to acceptance.
Can't go straight to acceptance.
It doesn't work.
There's no end run on that one.
There is
Gotta
a process.
go in.
And we have to be really honest. We have to take a moment for self-reflection and say, okay, what did I set out to do? Where did I achieve it? Where did I fall short? If I fell short, was it within my control, or was there an outside hurricane or tsunami or earthquake that prevented me from getting my goal? Sometimes it really is a force beyond our control.
I think as a tool, one of the things that we also work on is the art of forgiveness.
Yes.
It's
Quite the art.
Now,
it seems more like magic than an art.
it can be, because what we have found is that through our human nature, we can become quite addicted to our need to be right.
Yeah,
and-
Clarice.
And when this
I
is,
feel like you hit an issue here.
I might have hit an issue here. And we have a saying in our work that goes like this: you can be right, or you can be in relationship. You can be right, or you can be successful. You can be right, or you can focus on getting it right. And getting it right is not the same as needing to be right. Needing to be right, God, our egos just get
Yeah, I was gonna say,
all
it's all
caught-
ego.
It's all ego. And when we're training leaders in our coaching practice, we focus on humility. And that requires, as Ari was saying, owning up to our own mistakes. And if we're hard on other people, we're likely 10 times harder on ourselves.
Yeah.
Which kind of circles us back, Clarice, to your concern about wanting to change the language around resolution
Right, so that
to
we can
intention.
fail
Because
less.
words matter. And the true naming of things, putting a different name on it, takes our mindset to a fresh place. And that allows us to move forward. And that's what we train and teach. And we have lots of specific tools and practices that we get people to experience and practice when we're doing the work together.
Can you
Yeah.
give us just one quick tool, something that we could give, several thousand coaches, 50,000, somebody?
I could give you a very quick tool in our 3-day seminar.
Okay, I'll give away. I'll
You'll
do
give
a
away?
giveaway. Yeah, because it's a new year and we should be abundant, right? So I often ask a question like this: would you keep as a best friend someone who talks to you the way that you talk to you?
Beautiful.
Now, some people can say yes, that, they have a lot of positive self-talk. But if you start peeling back the layers, you will find underneath there's going to be some part where we beat ourselves up for not being good enough, smart enough, bright enough, rich enough, something enough, where we hammer on ourselves for not doing enough or being enough. And when we're talking with our best friends, we're much more, quite often, gracious with them, more compassionate, more empathetic, more understanding, yet we withhold that from
For
ourselves.
Beautiful. I love that. If that's all we took from this today, we would have come away better, yes?
I agree.
I know that you want to talk about emotional intelligence, why it's important, and how these 3-level seminars or more.
Yeah,
work.
I'm not sure that very many people know what emotional intelligence is. Like, how do you give them a snapshot of, what it is and how they know whether they are or not?
I like to say that emotional intelligence is the ability to pause between stimulus and response.
Wow.
Totally stealing that.
I know, right? Write that down for me.
It's knowing ourselves well enough that whatever's happening, we are still conscious about how we are choosing to respond in the situation.
So if you have a longer pause, then you're more emotionally intelligent.
You're much more likely to stop and consider rather than being in reaction, whereas we're so often in reaction in our lives.
Yeah.
So emotional intelligence is, as Ari said, this ability to pause, because what happens is we have what is called an amygdala hijack. Our emotional component sort of takes over.
Lizard brain.
Yeah,
Exactly.
lizard brain. That's exactly right.
What's the what's your basic? Sorry, I'm going to get all up in
all
this
right.
piece
Get,
We can
get
be
in
all
there, Tiger.
flexible.
Get in there.
Get the flashlight out.
because I think a lot of us meet people. You meet somebody like Clarice, and you're like, this person has empathy, compassion. They can hear me, right? But we've all, especially at work, met someone where it's like, I don't think that person is a person, because
The
they have
robot.
so much disconnect with another person. So is emotional intelligence, in your view, something that it's kind of like the ability to play the piano? You've either got it or you don't. Is it something like comedic timing, or is it something that can be trained or developed over time?
It can absolutely be trained over time.
I was concerned for humanity.
Yes, that is what we are so hopeful about and so passionate about in our work, because we know there's this continuum, like you said, of somebody like Clarice, where you just meet for the first time and you go, yeah, got it, and someone else who's much more introverted or quiet or can't make eye contact. It doesn't mean they don't have a rich inner life with deep heart and deep connection. They just don't know how to show it. And so that's what we focus a lot on, is that, no, you can learn how to do this. You might not turn into a Clarice. You don't need to be Clarice. You just need to be you.
We already have a Clarice.
We have a Clarice.
It works very well.
So that's the skills and tools that we teach in our workshops and our coaching practice, help people develop those skills that work for them, so that they get to become their very best self.
And let's talk about those programs. So
Sure.
they're individual 3-day seminars, correct? Just open to the public, so human beings like myself can
Anybody
attend.
can join.
You have them on both coasts, so to speak. You've got them in San Diego. Give us a broad overview of the levels. What do I get out of my level 1, my level 2? How many are there?
3. We have 3 levels.
Okay.
And we also have, coming up, we have a 1-day retreat workshop for women called Body and Soul.
Yes.
That's another.
I'm going to Seminar 1.
Yeah.
I'm already signed up.
Awesome.
I'm there.
Yeah.
All right.
So Seminar 1, in a nutshell, is about taking ownership of our lives. Joy, clarity, aliveness, purpose. Reconnecting to that part of ourselves that wants to feel as though we make a difference, that I'm living a purposeful life. How do I do that? So we start, that's our baseline seminar. Accountability, trust, emotional intelligence, learning how to suspend judgment.
Yeah, Clarice.
Is very big.
That's my only line.
Is
from that.
very big in that workshop. So it's about taking ownership of our lives.
Okay, and this is like a legit workshop. I was recently in a hotel, don't ask why, and there was a workshop going on next door, and at some point they played an Adele song, and all the ladies in the house seemed to be weeping. This is not that kind of a workshop. This is a workshop with skills training and development, or it's mostly emotion, like
It is
emoting?
skills training. I will, for the sake of honesty, we play music in our workshops.
I mean, I would hope
but
so.
it's not
I know
Adele just to make
why.
people cry.
Why? Because music touches people. People want to feel. We end up going through life on our treadmill, and we want to feel something. And oftentimes just the talking doesn't get us there, and sometimes a piece of music will connect to us in a new and different way.
I have a feeling if it was Billy Joel that was making them cry, you'd be a little more open to
Well, I
it.
understand it.
Ah, now we're talking. So that's first level. Second
be a
level
big
is
show.
reclaiming authenticity, going back to the images and masks that we put up. And everybody walks out of there with a personal intention contract with themselves
Nice.
for when you get
Look at that. I already
when
knew.
you get knocked off, like the universe wants to knock the pins out from underneath us. And so what we do is in the second level, we make sure everybody walks out of there with their personal tool, their personal intention statement that allows them to very quickly get back in alignment. As Ari talked about earlier, getting folks in alignment, because it's easy to get knocked off. So what would be your personal claim, your personal statement that would help you get back in alignment quickly.
Yeah, I love that. That's
Find that center, find that place of intention and purpose.
Right.
It's kind of like when you have that clarity of like your what for, you can get out of bed and remember like, oh yeah, this is why I'm getting out of bed.
This is
It's not for the
as
bowl
the
of
temperature
cereal.
gets colder and it gets harder and harder to
get out of
justify
bed.
getting out from under the covers.
Yeah.
It helps to have that intention.
That's right. So that's the second level. And then the third one, which I noticed you got very attracted to, we run that in Sedona, Arizona.
Oh, wow.
And so after you've done all this deep, hard work around accountability and intention and clarity, now we just want to let it all go. Now we want to play. And we want to explore some of the maybe spiritual components that are there all the time that we don't just usually talk about. But we go to Sedona, and every morning we start by hiking out in the Red Rocks. Then we come back. I have a background in dance and yoga. And then we do yoga practice and stretch to get the kinks out from our hike. And then we do some meditation, and then we do other exploration around deeper meaning and purpose in life. And deep, deep, deep self-acceptance.
Beautiful.
That in itself is all worth it.
Indeed. And perfectly named by allpossible.co, which is where you can find out information on all of those and get yourself registered like Clarice did. I feel like you're a little ahead of me in this game. All right, we're down to
Always.
our last 5 minutes, and our time's gone so quickly and delightfully here. I want to talk about New Year and goal setting, at least for a moment, and then I'll give you guys a couple moments just to sort of give us any parting thoughts or parting shots, or just take a swing at Clarice, whatever you feel like. When we're talking about goal setting, what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make or organizations make, and how can we do it better?
I think the number one mistake, both personally and organizationally, is setting a goal that is just downright unachievable.
It's, like
It's
setting yourself
always
up.
amazing. I'm going to go lose 50 pounds. Okay, that's a great goal. How are you going to get there? You don't have time. You're not going to the gym. You might go for the first 2 weeks of the year, and then the universe comes back in and your job takes over and life takes over. And then all you end up doing is feeling bad that you haven't achieved losing your 50 pounds. So instead of that, a goal of, I'm just going to get healthier. What does that mean? Maybe you're adjusting the way you eat. Maybe you're walking the dog 2 more times throughout the day, so you're just getting more active. And so if we set goals, either as an organization, we're going to have growth this year, or I'm going to get healthier this year personally. We want to set something that we can break into smaller components and achieve step by step systematically. Because every time we build on a small success, we get a little more emboldened, we feel a little bit better, and those smaller victories all form one big giant robot that will protect the world.
And I want to be clear though, because we're getting close to a little pet peeve of mine. We're not saying
Transformers?
create 2 pet
Robots.
peeves. We're not saying create vague goals.
No, not vague goals, achievable goals. So, okay, if the goal for the organization is we want to grow 20%, that's wonderful. How are you going to grow 20%? Through sales, through a new vertical product line, through acquisition? How is it as an organization you're somehow magically going to add 20% to your bottom line?
Other than just going whipping people for not having beat that.
Exactly. Exactly.
I like that because I think that it's really something, it's a bigger broad stroke. Like you have the big reason why of like growth, and then you're actually calling forth like being
growth is
many goals
wonderful
to hit.
Everybody likes to grow personally, professionally, as an organization. But what is it? How is it we're going to do that?
Measurable.
A lot of times in my experience, it's, hey, we just want our sales team to do 40% better than last year. But by the way, we're not adding anybody to your sales team.
Or any incentives.
Or any incentives for you to do better. And we're not adding a new product line for you to sell. We just expect that you're going to go out there and as a team sell 40% more of what we have.
Right. Well, our time has flown by, as I said, and I want to give you each an opportunity for about a minute of parting thought or parting shot, something you'd like 50,000 or so coaches to know today or think about. Michelle, will you do us the honor of going first?
Sure, I'd love to. One of the best words of advice I ever got, and particularly Clarice as being a woman and helping other females become empowered, and this piece of advice was, throw away your watch and get a good compass.
Oh, I like that. That's so good.
And to me, it's like following your North Star, and you'll get there. You know, that does make the difference. And don't be afraid to write down your dreams. Putting it down on paper kinesthetically, and then just set it aside. But actually, that kinesthetic act of writing down what you want to achieve is a very, very powerful tool. And then it's amazing that just that intention, and then just go do your life, and don't forget to have some fun. Life is too short to be so serious all the time that you can't enjoy the ride. So
beautiful.
That would be my words.
Ari, our time
he said
is even
one
more brief.
thing. You had to step on my joy.
Sorry.
Tune in again next week and find out what Ari has.
I'm sorry. That works. It still works.
My advice is, if you have children, set aside a fund that can be for college or therapy.
Let
them choose and then make them accept their choice.
And although you'd never know it, that is a family working together. That is Ari Saul and Michelle Saul. Michelle is the president and founder of Possibilities Consulting, LLC. You can find them on the web for your organization at possible.co, or for yourself. Get into those emotional intelligence and breakthrough transformational programs, seminars, by going to allpossible.co, or you can find them on each other's sites. Thank you so much for being with us, and thanks for the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
What a pleasure.
It's been so much fun.
A pleasure.
And that's Clarice Connolly. You can find her at empoweringwomen.coach.
Coach.
And this, of course, is the coaching show where we bring people out on the cutting edge or just doing something interesting in the world of coaching to you each and every week. You can find us here at WSRadio.com or in iTunes or wherever fine podcasts are available. I thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make